Baseball is one of the most popular sports in the world, loved by millions of people of all ages. From Little League games to the World Series, baseball has a rich and fascinating history that stretches back over 100 years. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the origins of baseball, the first professional league, and the impact of legendary players like Babe Ruth on the game. Get ready to learn about the sport that has captured the hearts of so many fans around the world. Ball games have been played throughout human history, with various civilizations having their own unique versions. In ancient Greece, the game of episkeiros involved throwing and catching a ball between two teams. Similarly, the Mesoamerican ball game played by the Maya and Aztec civilizations was both a sport and ritual, with the ball symbolizing the sun and the moon. In Japan, the game of kimari was a popular pastime among nobles, which involved kicking a ball to keep it aloft. Native American tribes also played various forms of ball games, such as the Cherokee game of enetso, which involved two teams trying to throw a ball past each other. These early ball games shared some similarities with modern baseball, such as using a ball and attempting to score points. The modern game of baseball as we know it originated in North America in the mid-19th century. The exact origins of baseball are somewhat unclear, but it is believed to have developed from a variety of English and American ball games. The first recorded baseball game took place in 1846 in Hoboken, New Jersey, and the first official rules were established in 1848 by the New York Knickerbocker Baseball Club. These early rules played a significant role in shaping the modern game, with 9 players on each team, 9 innings, and a diamond-shaped field. As the popularity of baseball grew, new regional leagues emerged, with the National League being founded in 1876. The American League was established in 1901, and the two leagues eventually merged in 1903 to form Major League Baseball. The development of various baseball technologies and innovations, such as the cork center baseball, batting helmets, and the designated hitter rule, have continued to shape the game throughout the years. The formation of Major League Baseball was a major turning point in the history of the sport. The first modern professional baseball league was the National Association of Professional Baseball Players, which was founded in 1871. However, the league lasted only 5 years. In 1876, the National League was formed, which paved the way for the modern major leagues. The American League was established in 1901, and it grew to become a strong rival to the National League. The two leagues eventually reached an agreement to form Major League Baseball in 1903, which remains the organizing body for the sport to this day. Baseball has since become one of the most popular sports in the world, with millions of fans tuning in to watch games each year. The major leagues continue to thrive, with the establishment of a number of new teams and the development of new technologies and innovations to keep the game fresh and exciting. Baseball is a sport that originated in the United States and has had a long and varied history. It has been played in some form or another since the early 19th century, when it was known as rounders. The earliest known reference to rounders dates back to 1825, when a game was reported in a diary kept by a boy in England. The game quickly spread to the United States, where it became known as baseball. In its early days, baseball was played by amateurs, with no organized leagues or professional teams. However, this soon changed as the game grew in popularity. In 1858, the National Association of Baseball Players was founded, which provided a structure for organized baseball. Over the next few decades, baseball continued to gain popularity, with new rules and regulations being introduced to the game. In 1871, the first professional baseball league, the National Association of Professional Baseball Players, was formed. This was followed by the formation of the American Association in 1882 and the National League in 1876. Today, baseball is one of the most popular sports in the United States, with millions of fans following their favorite teams and players each year. The National Association of Professional Baseball Players, NAPBBP, was the first professional baseball league in the United States. It was established in 1871 and consisted of 9 teams based in northeastern cities, such as Boston, Chicago, and New York. The NAPBBP was founded by a group of professional baseball players who were dissatisfied with the way their sport was being run. Before the NAPBBP, baseball was often played haphazardly, with no set rules or regulations. Professional players were not paid very well, and the sport was looked down upon by the general public. The NAPBBP changed all of that. It established a set of rules and regulations for the sport and provided a structure for professional teams to operate within. The league was also responsible for standardizing the size and weight of the baseball itself. This helped to make the game more uniform and fair for all players. Over the next few years, the NAPBBP grew in popularity, with new teams being added each year. However, the league was plagued with problems, including player gambling and a lack of financial stability. Eventually, the NAPBBP disbanded in 1875, but not before it paved the way for modern professional baseball. The National League was founded in 1876 and became the first successful professional baseball league in the United States. It was formed by a group of team owners who were looking for a more financially stable and organized structure for the sport. The original National League consisted of 8 teams, including the Boston Red Stockings, Chicago White Stockings, and New York Mutuals. Over the next few years, the league proved to be a huge success, with attendance at games skyrocketing and new teams being added each year. The league also introduced new innovations to the sport, including the pitcher's mound and the 8-hour workday for players. In the 1880s, a rival league known as the American Association emerged, but the National League remained the dominant force in professional baseball. One of the most famous moments in National League history occurred in 1908, when the Chicago Cubs won their second consecutive pennant, thanks in large part to their star player, Mordecai "Three Finger" Brown. Today, the National League is still one of the 2 major professional baseball leagues in the United States, with many of its teams having a rich history and loyal fan bases. The Negro Leagues were a series of professional baseball leagues created for black players in the United States during a time when segregation barred them from playing in the established professional leagues. The first Negro League was founded in 1920 and it continued to grow over a period of several years. Racial segregation was a major issue of the time and black Americans were often denied equal opportunities to participate in most sports. Baseball, which was the most popular professional sport in the United States, was certainly no exception. The Negro Leagues were an attempt to provide black ball players with an opportunity to play at the professional level. Initially, this was limited to the United States, but later Caribbean countries were included, which helped bring in more talent. The Negro Leagues allowed some of the greatest black players of all time to showcase their skills, including icons such as Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, Buck Leonard, and Satchel Paige. The leagues even attracted a growing number of white players who couldn't get into the all-white leagues. Despite the inferior conditions and limited opportunities for players in the Negro Leagues, it became hugely popular among black Americans with teams springing up all around the country. In its prime, the Negro Leagues attracted massive crowds to baseball games, often with greater attendance than many of the major professional leagues. The leagues played a significant and remarkable role in American sports history and paved the way for future reforms and integration of other professional leagues. The Negro Leagues played a significant role in the integration of professional sports in the United States. The leagues were a symbol of the hope and resilience of black communities during a time when they suffered extreme racial discrimination in every aspect of their lives. While the Negro Leagues were created for black players, it also provided opportunities for black managers, coaches, and owners who played crucial roles in the success of these leagues. As a result, the Negro Leagues served as a platform for black entrepreneurship and gave black Americans an opportunity to show the world that they could create, manage and succeed in business. The Negro Leagues were also instrumental in contributing to the growth and evolution of baseball. The leagues developed their own unique style of play and had their own set of stars and legends. Many of the strategies and techniques used in Negro League games influenced the style of play that is seen in modern baseball. In addition, the Negro Leagues played a key role in the development of the farm team system, where players were developed and trained before joining the major leagues. Perhaps most importantly, the Negro Leagues challenged deep-seated prejudices that had been prevalent in American society for centuries. The leagues provided a platform for black Americans to openly challenge the widely held belief that they were somehow inferior or less capable than their white counterparts. It is important to acknowledge the contributions of the thousands of baseball players, coaches, owners, and fans who fought for equality and justice, which ultimately led to the integration of baseball in the late 1940s and early 1950s. The Negro Leagues played a pivotal role in the American Civil Rights Movement. The leagues provided a stage for the black community where they could showcase their skills, talents, and culture. By doing so, the Negro Leagues symbolized the resilience and determination of black Americans to overcome the oppression and injustices that they had been subjected to for centuries. Many renowned civil rights activists such as Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, and Don Newcombe played in the Negro Leagues before they made their mark in Major League Baseball. Their experiences in the Negro Leagues shaped their views on life and helped them become effective leaders in the civil rights movement. By succeeding in the face of adversity, these baseball pioneers inspired generations of black Americans to believe in the possibility of a better future. Moreover, the integration of baseball, which was pioneered by people like Jackie Robinson, was a historic milestone that helped break down racial barriers in many other areas of American society. The actions of the Negro League players and officials contributed significantly to this process by challenging the myth of white supremacy and laying the groundwork for integration in other professional and social spheres of American society. The impact of the Negro Leagues on the civil rights movement was enormous and paved the way for significant progress in racial equality, which continues to this day. Babe Ruth is one of the most iconic figures in the history of baseball, and his impact on the game is still felt today. Ruth began his professional career in 1914 with the Baltimore Orioles, but his talent quickly caught the attention of the Boston Red Sox. In his early years with the Red Sox, Ruth was primarily a pitcher and had a record of 94-46 with an ERA of 2.28. However, Ruth's real contribution came with his bat. In 1919, Ruth set a new major league record with 29 home runs, a feat that had previously been accomplished only once. The following year, Ruth continued to hit homers at an impressive rate and helped lead the Red Sox to a World Series championship. Despite this success, in 1920, Ruth was traded to the New York Yankees, and the rest is history. Nevertheless, Ruth's early career is an essential part of his legacy and cannot be overlooked. In 1919, Babe Ruth was sold to the New York Yankees by the Boston Red Sox. The reasons behind the trade are still somewhat controversial, but many believe it was due to Ruth's insubordination and his desire for a higher salary. The move proved to be a stroke of genius on the part of the Yankees, as Ruth would go on to change the course of baseball history. With Ruth on the team, the Yankees won their first American League pennant in 1921 and their first World Series the following year. Ruth's impact was undeniable, both on the field and off. He drew massive crowds wherever he went, and his larger-than-life personality only added to his allure. In his first 10 seasons with the Yankees, Ruth led the league in home runs 9 times and won 4 American League MVP awards. Babe Ruth's legacy in New York is still celebrated to this day, and he remains one of the most beloved figures in the history of the Yankees franchise. In 1927, Babe Ruth accomplished one of the greatest feats in baseball history. He hit 60 home runs in a single season. This was a remarkable achievement, given that the previous record was 59, set by Ruth himself in 1921, and no other player had ever hit more than 47 in a single season. Ruth's feat captured the imagination of the American public and cemented his status as a sports icon. But Ruth's accomplishment was more than just a number. It represented a shift in the way baseball was played and perceived. Ruth's ability to hit home runs at such a prolific rate brought a new level of excitement and entertainment to the game. It also inspired a new generation of power hitters who sought to emulate Ruth's success. Ruth's 60 home run season was a historic event that continues to be celebrated in the world of baseball, and it remains a testament to his incredible talent and lasting impact on the game. In 1876, 8 professional baseball teams formed the National League of Professional Baseball Clubs. This organization operated as the top level of organized baseball in the United States, solidifying the distinction between amateur and professional competition. Led by founder William Hulbert, the National League was the first successful national professional baseball organization. It set rules and policies for the game, established a standard number of games played, and introduced concepts like league standings and end-of-season championships. This led to the development of a broad fan base as the sport became more structured and organized. In 1901, the American League was founded, soon becoming a major rival to the National League. The American League grew in popularity and soon became a formidable power, with attendance figures skyrocketing as their top teams like the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox gradually became household names. To compete with the National League, the American League champion was pitted against the National League champion in a new end-of-season event called the World Series. The first ever World Series game was held in 1903, and the concept of the series quickly caught on as a thrilling championship finale for each baseball season. Over time, Major League Baseball expanded into new regions, leading to the addition of new teams. The first team to cross the Mississippi River and join the American League was the St. Louis Browns, who relocated from Milwaukee in 1902. Soon after, in 1903, the Boston Americans became the first American League team outside of the Northeast, beating the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series. In 1953, the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants moved to California, marking the start of a westward expansion of Major League Baseball. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, teams were added in Arizona, Colorado, and Florida, bringing the total number of Major League teams to 30. This allowed fans in new regions to follow their favorite teams and expanded the game's popularity even further. And that's a wrap on our look at the fascinating history of baseball. From humble beginnings to becoming a beloved pastime of millions, baseball has come a long way over the past century. While the sport has faced its fair share of controversies and setbacks, one thing remains constant: the love and passion that fans have for the game. Whether you're a die-hard fan or just discovering the sport for the first time, we hope you've enjoyed learning about the history of baseball and all that makes it so special.